Look at this stamp. It's just a scrap of yellowed paper with dry glue on the back, smelling like a dusty attic and forgotten letters. Most people are wasting their lives chasing ghosts. I'm 87 years old, and I realized I was wrong about the meaning of success for 60 years. I spent decades polishing a mahogany desk until I could see my own tired eyes in the wood, believing that the cold weight of a brass nameplate was the only thing that mattered. My fingers have touched thousands of crisp dollar bills, and they all feel the same: dry, lifeless, and completely indifferent to the person holding them. We treat our lives like a race toward a finish line that doesn't exist, pushing our bodies until our knees creak and our lungs burn for a trophy that just gathers gray dust on a shelf. I traded 60 years of soft morning sunlight and the sweet smell of rain on hot pavement for the fluorescent hum of an office that forgot my name the moment I walked out the door.
Real success isn't the sharp bite of a new car key pressing into your palm. It is the warmth of a small hand holding yours without asking for anything in return. It's the sound of a kettle whistling in a kitchen filled with laughter, or the way the air feels cool on your skin when you finally stop running. I spent my life building a mountain of stone, only to realize I wanted to walk in the grass. Don't wait until your skin feels like thin parchment to realize that the ghosts you are chasing have no heartbeats. Stop. Look at the dirt under your fingernails and the people standing right in front of you. That is the only thing that is real. Your thumb is raw from scrolling through lives that look like polished marble. You feel that sharp ache in the back of your neck, the one that tells you you're falling behind. You've been told that being ordinary is a death sentence, so you push. You drink cold, bitter coffee at 2 a.m. until your stomach churns. You chase a version of yourself that is louder, richer, and more special. But that person doesn't actually exist. They're just a ghost made of pixels and blue light. Right now, your happiness is being crushed by the heavy, invisible weight of a trophy you think you need to hold to be worth something. You are trading the soft, steady rhythm of your own breath for a frantic race toward a gold medal that will eventually feel like nothing more than a cold rock in your pocket. You don't need to be a skyscraper to deserve the sun. You've spent so long trying to be a storm that you've forgotten how good it feels to just be the quiet air after the rain.
Stop trying to set the world on fire when you're already shivering. The pressure to be extraordinary is a ghost's hand around your throat, and it's time to breathe again. My 15-year-old niece looked at me over a bowl of soggy cereal yesterday and asked a question that would make a billionaire choke on his steak. She asked, "If you finally got everything you wanted, what would you do with the silence?" I felt a cold prickle of sweat on my neck. We spend our lives building walls of noise to keep that exact question out. We buy faster cars to outrun the quiet and stack gold coins like a shield against the dark. But the silence is always there, heavy and thick like a damp wool blanket. I couldn't answer her, not then. The answer was hidden in a secret I learned from a neighbor who passed away last winter. He was a man no one noticed, a man who smelled like cedar shavings and peppermint tea. He didn't have a marble floor or a title on his door. He left behind a single scrap of yellowed paper tucked inside an old rusted tin. On it, he had written the one thing the people at the top of the mountain are too terrified to admit. He wrote, "The man who tries to own the horizon owns nothing, but the man who loves the single blade of grass at his feet owns the world."
Billionaires are still running because they are trying to buy a version of the sun that never sets. They think the next zero in their bank account will finally turn off the ache in their chest. But the secret isn't in the hunt. It is in the way your lungs feel when you finally stop trying to be the storm. You don't need to conquer the world to deserve a seat in it. The silence isn't a void to be filled. It is the only place where you can finally hear your own heart beating. Stop chasing the ghost of more and start feeling the weight of enough in your hands. It feels a lot like peace. Margaret never stood on a stage. She didn't have a manifesto or 1,000,000 followers. She was just a primary school teacher with a house that smelled like cinnamon and old dusty library books. Every Sunday night, while the rest of the world was busy worrying about Monday, Margaret sat at a small oak desk. You could hear the rhythmic scritch-scratch of her fountain pen against thick, cream-colored cardstock. It was a slow, deliberate sound. She wasn't writing to change the world. She was writing to say she saw it. She'd write about a student's new shoes or the way the sunlight hit a neighbor's porch. She'd lick the bitter metallic glue on the back of a stamp and press it down with a thumb that had seen 80 winters. The skin on her hands was thin and mapped with deep, permanent creases, neps and ridges that held the ink of a lifetime. Then she would walk to the end of her driveway. The mailbox was a heavy hunk of green metal, pitted with rust and biting cold against her palm. Clang! The sound of the metal door closing was the only viral moment she ever needed. We spend our lives looking for meaning in the clouds or in the blue light of our phones. We think impact looks like a skyscraper, but Margaret knew the truth. Impact is the weight of a letter in a lonely person's hand. It's the smell of cedar shavings in a quiet room. It's the physical sting of the winter air as you do one small thing for someone who can never pay you back. You don't need a roar to be heard. You just need the scratch of a pen and the courage to be still. Peace isn't an idea you find in a book. It's the feeling of the cold metal handle in your hand and the knowledge that you've left the world a little warmer than you found it. We wait for the roar. We look for the blinding white light of a stage or the electric hum of a microphone to tell us we finally matter. But that's the trap. We think influence is a skyscraper built of glass and steel. It isn't. Influence is the quiet ripple in a puddle after the rain stops. It's the steam rising from a chipped ceramic mug as you sit across from someone who forgot how to smile. The biggest mistake you'll ever make is waiting for a headline to tell you you're useful. You think you need 1,000,000 eyes on you to change the world. Meanwhile, you've already shifted the gravity in someone's universe just by buying them a coffee and letting the world go quiet for 20 minutes. Stop looking at the clouds for a sign. Look at the dirt on your shoes and the warmth in your palms. Real power doesn't scream, it whispers. It's the weight of a hand on a shaking shoulder and the smell of old paper in a quiet room. We wait for the roar. We look for the blinding white light of a stage or the electric hum of a microphone to tell us we finally matter. But that's the trap. We think influence is a skyscraper built of glass and steel. It isn't. Influence is the quiet ripple in a puddle after the rain stops. It's the steam rising from a chipped ceramic mug as you sit across from someone who forgot how to smile.
The biggest mistake you'll ever make is waiting for a headline to tell you you're useful. You think you need 1,000,000 eyes on you to change the world. Meanwhile, you've already shifted the gravity in someone's universe just by buying them a coffee and letting the world go quiet for 20 minutes. Stop looking at the clouds for a sign. Look at the dirt on your shoes and the warmth in your palms. Real power doesn't scream, it whispers. It's the weight of a hand on a shaking shoulder and the smell of old paper in a quiet room.
It's the realization that while you were waiting to become a mountain, you were already the ground someone else was standing on. You don't need to be seen to be felt. You just need to be there. The world doesn't stay upright because of the people on billboards. It stays together because of the grease on a mechanic's thumb and the tired ache in a nurse's lower back at 4 in the morning. Everything that keeps this gravity from pulling us into the dirt was built, bolted, and polished by people whose names will never be carved into cold stone. They are the invisible glue. They are the friction that keeps us from sliding off the edge. You want to be real? Stop performing for the glass lens in your pocket. Put the phone away. Be kind when the only witness is the dust dancing in a shaft of light. Give the heavy coat to the shivering stranger when there is no one there to hit a button or leave a comment. That is the only time you aren't a ghost. That is the moment your heart actually beats against your ribs. Real life happens in the dark, in the quiet, and in the spaces where no one is clapping. When the cameras are off and the stage is empty, that is the only time you truly exist. Your life is this letter. The world doesn't need you to be famous. They just need you to be present.